So year eights, we're almost at the end of our book. We've got the last chapter still to read. So when we read last week, you noticed that things are starting to get back to some sort of normality for the family. Dad's stopping drinking quite as much. He's going out to work. He's looking after his children. Jamie and Jazz seem a little bit happier in their lives. And we've just got the last chapter to read of the book. And unfortunately then, we've finished it. The last chapter is slightly different because it's told from Jazz's point of view. Okay, so the whole story's been told from Jamie's point of view. Got a change for this last chapter. So I'm walking along with a photograph in my pocket and a hair clip I no longer need in my hand. And I'm doing that thing of checking my reflection in shop windows, pretending to look at the displays. I don't recognise the pink-haired girl staring back at me. Even though my birthday party starts in 10 minutes and Dad will be mad if I'm late, it's important to tell Rose this one last thing, and that's why I'm heading to the church with a walkie-talkie in my bag. 10 months ago, I found it in Rosie's room when Jamie was jumping on her bed. He doesn't remember our sister, not properly, but she knew full well she wasn't supposed to be jumping on her mattress, trying to touch the ceiling and hang there like Spider-Man. When I opened the door, he leapt off and hid under the bed, scared that I was Mum. Promising not to tell, I coaxed Jamie out, and that's when I saw the box of old toys, a walkie-talkie. My walkie-talkie, actually. Rose broke hers, so she took mine. I didn't really mind. It was useless. Some things only work in pairs. I sent Jamie off to do his homework. I'm going to check in an hour, I shouted after him. He daydreams. You can't see the sums for doodles in his maths book, and his history stuff's covered in drawings of decapitated kings. When he left, I looked around guiltily, because we're not supposed to touch Rosie's things. Then I hid the walkie-talkie under my jumper. Don't say a word, I whispered to Roger as I crept into my bedroom. I started off all self-conscious, maybe a few seconds at a time, nothing more. Hi, remember me? Dad drinks and I'm pretty sure Mum's having an affair, said in a rush, exactly like that, because it felt ridiculous talking to my dead sister through a half-broken two-way radio. But after a few days, my embarrassment faded, and soon I was speaking to Rose for an hour a night, as if we were still young, hiding under the duvets either side of the wall, giggling into walkie-talkies in the darkness. If something funny happened at school, I couldn't wait to get home to tell my sister. If I was feeling low or had a secret, she was the one I confided in. And it sounds crazy. I mean, I knew it was impossible and everything, but whenever I spoke to Rose, I strained my ears to listen to her for her response, just in case. It was getting obsessive, and I was addicted, and I knew it was unhealthy, but I couldn't stop, until I found the photo. I wasn't looking for it. To tell the truth, I'd been avoiding pictures of Rose since Dad bought all these albums and started sticking images of my sister in chronological order, as if it was some great puzzle that would bring her back to life if you put everything in the right place. First bath, first Christmas, first birthday. Problem was, Rose's firsts were my first too. I was scared to look at them. The twins in the photos would be trapped in a different world. Clothes, hair, everything outdated. While the sister I talked to was here, now, part of the present. I didn't want a reminder that time was passing, forcing me forward like one of those shop escalators, months whirring into years, remember sliding towards forget. So I avoided the pictures. It was easier. Whenever Dad stumbled into the lounge half drunk with his Pritt stick, I made myself scarce. But last week, when I was searching for the TV remote, I knocked an album with my elbow. A photo fluttered out the half-filled pages and landed face down next to my knee. Pulse quickening, I picked it up and flipped it over. Our 10th birthday. 2 girls and a cake shaped like the face of an orange cat. Rose's request. I preferred dogs. Identical outfits, different smiles. Rosie's grin twice the size of mine. Then lots of things happened quickly, and when I think about it now, the memory plays almost in fast forward. I realised I didn't look happy, and this seemed strange because it was my birthday, so I leaned closer to the photo. I saw the wrapping paper on the table, the new white hair clip in my ponytail, the red one pinning back Rose's fringe, and all of a sudden I remembered. The excitement as I opened the present, and the shock as Rose explained, and the sadness I tried to hide with a forced smile as Mum picked up the camera making us pose by our cake. Rose's words ringing in my ears, I scrambled to my feet and hurried towards the mirror. My eyes darted from the photo to my reflection and back again, over and over. Same long brown hair, same makeupless skin, similar outfit, a pale skirt and frilly top, same hair clip, fastening the ponytail identical to the one in the picture. I was taller, but that was the only difference apart from my toenails. I've been painting them black for months, covering my feet with ankle socks so Mum won't see. I stared down at the photo, scared, but not for the reason I'd expected all those times. I'd turned my back on Dad's albums, anxious to avoid even a glimpse of the past. The alarming fact wasn't that everything had changed since the photo, it was that nothing had. I didn't speak to Rose that night. I couldn't. Every time I picked up the walkie-talkie, I heard the words she'd said on the last birthday we'd shared, words I'd forgotten or blocked out since her death. Every time I tried to sleep, I saw her lips move as she gave me the hair clip covered in small white flowers, the first thing I'd ever owned that she didn't have too. Next morning, eyes puffy from lack of sleep, I grabbed the phone and made a hair appointment. And that's why today, my 15th birthday, 5 years exactly since the photo was taken, I walked into the salon to ask for my hair to be cut short and dyed pink. "You're daring," the hairdresser smiled when I sat down on the chair. "It's quite a change. Been thinking of it a while," she said, mixing the colour. I shook my head. "So why now?" the hairdresser asked, applying the first bit of pink to my parting. I swallowed and forced out words. "It's just time." At last the church appears at the end of the road and I squint up at the clock. My party started 5 minutes ago, so I speed up, determined to do what I came to do, but worried about being late. A dog barks as I pass the vets, music blares out of the pub, chip-fat sizzles in a cafe, and a builder wolf whistles from somewhere up above. Might not be for me, but for the first time in my life I think there's a chance, and the skin on the back of my neck tingles in a way I've never felt before. I reach the church gate. Hinges squeak, and flecks of green paint fall softly as I push. The route to Rosie's grave is familiar, and I walk it easily without thinking. It took me 3 years to come here after the funeral. Mum refused to bring me because she finds the graveyard depressing, but on the day we became teenagers, I decided to visit Rose after school. Lying, I told Mum I had some project to do in the library and sneaked here instead. The grave was difficult to find, and I was terrified of seeing it, even though the rest of my sister lives on the mantelpiece at home. It's not that I expected Rose to appear like some sort of ghost in a bad film, all back from the dead and all see-through and wise. I was just nervous of seeing where she was buried. Bits of my twin stuck underground. Bits of my twin that looked exactly like me. But when I got here, it was okay. Nice almost. A place we could be alone. I've been coming ever since. Catching the light of the afternoon sun, the white marble sparkles as I approach Rosie's headstone. "My angel," it says on it, which is stupid, unless angels laugh their bladders weak or scream if they don't get their own way or cheek teachers without fear. I kneel at my sister's side and mutter, "It's me," because I look different. A bird sings its heart out from a branch bursting with leaves, and the world is so alive. It seems unfair that Rose is dead. Tears come and I let them fall because this is it. With trembling hands, I open the bag and reach for the walkie-talkie. Turning it on one last time, I think of all the things I want to say. Making sure I'm alone, I lift the black plastic to my lips. I want to tell her about my pink hair, to explain why I had it done and what it means, to say sorry because in some way it feels like a betrayal. But just as I'm about to speak, I realise there's no need. Rose understands. After all, it was her idea in the first place. The last 3 months of her life, sick of Mum dressing us the same, Rose tried to change. Even on the morning she died, like every morning since our birthday, my sister came into my room and styled my hair, pulling it back into a ponytail, leaving hers down. She pinned back her fringe with the red clip and fastened my hair with the white. Satisfied we looked different, she grinned, and I did too, disguising the sadness I felt inside. The last thing I saw before the explosion was a flash of scarlet as my sister threw back her head and twirled among the pigeons. I loved being identical, the matching outfits and all that. Rose was funnier than me, braver than me, older by 2 minutes, though it sometimes felt like 2 years. Being the same as her made me proud, which is why the words she'd said on our 10th birthday had hurt so much, and why I'd chosen to forget them until after she died. Open it then, Rose urged that day in June. It was the last present. So far, everything we'd received had come in a pair. Some new dressing gowns, same new pencil cases, same new watches. Excited, I tore off the silver wrapping paper to find a hair clip embroidered with white petals. Jasmine flowers, my sister said, because you're Jasmine. She held up a different clip covered in red petals. And I'm Rose. The church clock strikes 4 and there's a flutter of wings as the bird flies away. Wiping my eyes, I turn off the walkie-talkie. There's nothing to say. I set it down gently by the headstone and take the photograph out of my pocket. Stroking Rosie's face with my thumb, I stare at her determined eyes, confident stance, pinned back fridge. It's taken me 5 years to catch up, but I got here eventually. I was always a few steps behind my twin. I placed the picture next to the walkie-talkie and put my hair clip there too. As the sun fills the graveyard with golden light, I touch the cold marble, then turn to leave. Back on the street, I catch sight of my reflection once more in a shop window. This time, I recognise the pink-haired girl staring back at me. I whisper, "I am Jasmine," before walking home. So, that's it. That's the end of the book. And we can see there, Jazz has had her struggles too, of dealing with her sister's death, and that's sort of been hidden a little bit. We know everything that Dad's been going through. Jazz has seemed to be the one who's been there and has held the family together, really, looked after Jamie, been like a mum to him, but she's struggled as well. What I'd like you to have a go at doing is writing a short review of this book. Now, I know it's been a little bit difficult. We started off reading it in school when you had the book in front of you. The last few weeks I've been reading to you and you've not had the book to look at, but hopefully you've taken in quite a bit from the story. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really love this book. What I'd like you to have a go at doing in your review, and like I say, it only needs to be a short review. Firstly, a couple of paragraphs to summarise the story without giving away the ending. When you're doing a review, you should never give away an ending, else then people wouldn't bother reading a book or watching a film or a TV programme if they knew how it ended. So think about what you could say about the characters, about the themes, about the sorts of things that this book touches on, and there's lots of really strong themes in here. I want you to tell me your opinion on it, and not just I liked it or I didn't like it. Why? Which bits did you like? Are there some characters you liked? Were there some parts that you liked and other parts that maybe you didn't? Are there parts that made you feel uncomfortable? Certainly there are quite a few parts in here that are awkward, but amusing at the same time. How did you feel about those parts? So give your opinion on it. And finally, I want you to put in your review who you'd recommend this book to. Who do you think would enjoy it? I'm not talking about individual people. Do you think it's more suitable for girls, for boys, for particular age groups? Think about that, who you would recommend this book to as well. As with all of your work, if you want to send it to me, that would be great. I'd really love to hear some of your thoughts about this book, because that's what we would have been talking about in class right now, what you thought of it. So I'd love to be able to share that with me and get your opinions for the future. Okay, so you only need to spend about 10-15 minutes on this, summarising the story. Think about the characters, the themes, give your opinion of the story, what you liked, what you didn't like, and who you would recommend the book to. And I will start searching for a new book for us to start reading from next Monday. Okay, off you go.